Welcome y'all, it's Wes with DIY Food Plot Pro. Today we got a really cool video. I've got a big problem. I've got a big soybean field out here, and what I'm standing in right now, the tractor's sitting in, is what I'm going to plant alfalfa in late this summer, early this fall. And I want something to make the deer feel more comfortable in this area. So what are we gonna plant? I'm gonna plant a mixture of Egyptian wheat and sun hemp. What I like about this type of food plot, it's not way out in the sticks. This is super easy access. 150 yards that way's the road. You can slip in here any time of the day. If you get off work early, come in here and hunt. This is a really versatile type scenario, but we're missing a lot of cover, a lot of security. And I feel like there's always a lot of deer out in this field very late of an evening. But this is more of an ag type field to where they're real comfortable coming out real late. And I think with this plot screen that we're gonna put in, I think that's gonna make those deer feel a little more comfortable using this alfalfa more often during the daylight times rather than more at night. I don't typically like mixing grasses and broadleaf. You typically have an awful hard time trying to control the weeds and grasses. But what I like about the sun hemp is it's going to be a legume, so it's going to provide the nitrogen for my Egyptian wheat. One thing, I have never raised either one of these food plots, so I don't claim to be an expert at this. I'm showing you through my experiences what works and what does not work. I've raised an awful lot of food plots, but I have never raised these two right here. One viewer was reaching out and told me that a lot of times it falls over. And we have issues with that, and most often, not all the times, you can have just falling over just because you get a bad storm or something like that. Sometimes that is because the population's a little too thick and it ends up what they call lodging, and it blows over. So I'm really going to go on the thin side with this and try to make sure that this stuff, I'm gonna give this every chance that it possibly can not to lodge. And then we're gonna see, I'm gonna track this throughout the summer, throughout the fall, throughout the winter, and I'm gonna show you guys how it did, if I recommend this to you guys or not to use. One thing to mention is that I got the sun hemp and the Egyptian wheat, and I bought them in 25-pound bags, and it's dirt cheap. So if this works, I may use this on an awful lot of my plots, where I could see that this could be a benefit to me to have a little more privacy on those food plots. Okay, so I think one pitfall that a lot of us fall into is we call everything an acre. By and large, most plots are not that big, but everybody calls everything they've got about an acre, which is really a good thing for fertilizer, for lime, but it's not really a good thing when you're trying not to overpopulate an area, okay? So what I did, I've measured this already. This is 8 feet wide by 138 feet long. I got my number. I divided that number by 43,560, which is the amount of square feet in 1 acre. And I came up with 0.025 acres, okay? That's not 2/10. That is 0.25 1/100ths of an acre, okay, is what that is. So now I've got to do the math and determine my seed rate and try to be very, very vigilant about not putting too much population on this where this weed is going to try to lodge on me. It may lodge anyway. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the problem with a lot of it falling over for people. For me, raising wheat, I know when we overpopulated it, with corn's the same way, beans are the same way. Anytime you overpopulate something, it gets so thick and there's not enough room for all the roots, and then the plant ends up just falling over. So I definitely don't want to plant this too thick. So let's go back to the shop and we're gonna get our seed, our sun hemp and our Egyptian wheat, and we are gonna get this in. We got a 60% chance of rain this weekend. So they are calling for about 1 inch. So I am hoping and praying that we get that and this will germ right up. All right guys, there's the seed. Egyptian wheat and sun hemp. We're gonna put it together and see what happens. So we're getting ready to spread this sun hemp and Egyptian wheat into my plot screen. This is really difficult math when you start dealing with this small amount of land. We're figuring about 2/100ths of an acre is all we're figuring. There's a lot of mixed reviews out there about, especially the Egyptian wheat. The bag says 30 pounds, 30 to 60 pounds per acre. That seems thick. But then you read online, a lot of people say 10 to 14 pounds per acre. I don't want this too thick. So I went with the 10. The sun hemp says 30 pounds per acre. I'm gonna cut that rate back as well to 10 pounds per acre. I don't know that this is right. I want to be 100% forthcoming with you and telling you this, that I've never tried this before. This is just an experiment for me that I thought you guys might like to come along and watch and see how this works, to see if this is a success, if it's a failure. That's part of this channel for me, is providing you with information that I know is rock solid, I know is 100% gonna work for you, but then it's also gonna be experimenting with new things, trying new things, see what works, see what doesn't work, save you guys time and money, and maybe not have to make some of the same mistakes that I made. This is a teeny amount of seed that I'm putting in here. I mean, it's literally just sitting in the very bottom, getting ready to be spread. It's like 0.6 pounds. So it's very, very little. I'm going to I've got this set as low as it will put out. I do not want to spread this too thick. Let's get right into it. Okay, so I've got that done. I got that seeded. I'm gonna take the Ranger. All I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna disc that in. That's a little bitty seed. All I'm gonna do is take the Ranger and I'm just gonna drive over top of it and make sure I put a tire on every spot in this little strip just to pack that back down, make sure I get good seed to soil contact. If you don't have a cultipacker like most of us don't, that is a really good way to cultipack your ground after seeding small seeds. Just take your Ranger and just drive over it and make sure you have a track all the way over that field. It just presses all that seed down into the soil. Make sure you have good seed to soil contact. So I've done that for years. I do that every time when I sow an alfalfa plot. So there it is. If you guys found this video helpful, smash that like and subscribe button.